The problem statement really was taking what we have today or what we had prior to the project with regard to our sales and operations planning or S&OP process and having the student team do some benchmarking. We also wanted them to take a deeper dive look at the demand planning.
The students then were presented with the new tool of SIOP, which is Sales Inventory Operations Planning, to understand really how inventory is a key part of that.
We know that we have issues and a lot of last minute changes and whatnot, and that drives the plants crazy. So just getting their inputs on what we could do to not perfect, but improve the demand planning process to the point that we had better demand plans and therefore better consensus demand and supply plans. And then we also had them do some work just in terms of the overall recommendations, coming back to us with the overall process improvement recommendations.
You have to have the right inventory at the right time. If you have too much, then that impacts cash flow, and too little will impact our customer experiences.
They were very inquisitive. They weren't bashful about asking questions when they didn't understand something or maybe needed additional insight.
There was a lot that impressed me about these students. They had lots of questions. They came back. They weren't hesitating at any point in time, but probably the most thing that impressed me was the innovation. They came back with lots of ideas that were very creative. One of those being digital twin, something that would allow us to do scenario building. That is not anything that is in our toolbox today.
In addition, I was super impressed with the programming that they did. One or two of the students worked on an open source program in order to work out a better demand plan and make sure that we got some tools to use going forward with that.
They decided to go out and find something on open source surrounding forecasting. They came back with data-driven decisions, and how I know that is they would come back and ask us for more data. And that was very intuitive and impressive to the whole internal team that was working with them.
The biggest opportunity, I think, going into the project was just getting better alignment between demand and supply. And again, not so many last-minute changes. So I think with the ideas that we received and the suggestions that we received, I think we do have a better feel for how we can do that going forward.
As soon as the students presented their final presentation to the team, we immediately went back within our own internal team and began to use the forecast collaboration tool, which really talked about ABC, XYZ, and began to work with the other part of our department, which is material planning. This allowed them to take two of the tools and the innovational ideas that they presented, and we've begun to actually reduce inventory because of some of the tools that the students presented.
So I've been a part of the Boeing Center Advisory Board for going on 10 years, I think, at this point in time. Always appreciate the benchmarking and some of the special topics that Panos and some of the others raise in the context of our meetings. The industry event that happens every year in the fall. The practicum projects themselves are very valuable. I've been involved in, I'd say, at least one every year. I think a couple different years we even did two. A lot of exposure to the students, which I enjoy. I learn as much sometimes in the context of those projects as the students do. And then likewise, when we get into things like the business roundtable that we've started to do here in the last couple of years, just the opportunity to compare notes and benchmark with the other advisory board member companies is very helpful.